I've been doing this many shows. I'm glad to be doing them again. All right, let's see. Is it going to work? Let's see here. Oh my God, the energy is just like, oh, crazy,
I feel it too
crazy,
now.
isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
I can feel it on in my body,
Mm,
like crazy. Like, like you're about to, like you're getting on a roller coaster or something.
yeah.
You know what
But
I'm talking about? Here,
yeah, good.
let me just tag you real quick while we're
Yeah.
waiting for people to come in. Oops. There we go. Let's see. Boom, boom. Yeah, there you are. Okay. Djoeke. How do you say it?
Djoeke. Djoeke.
Djoka. Djoka.
Djoeke. Oh, and
Djoka.
I'm having my good background now.
You're having what?
My good background.
Okay. Hang on. Here we go.
So,
Okay, I tagged you. I tagged you. So it'll be on your.
my page.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a deep breath. Okay, we're live on all three platforms. Um, all right, let me turn that off. I'll watch some comments here. Yeah, let's just take a moment. Do you mind? Let's take a moment to just kind of pull everything in. I can feel like, this is, the show I just did was powerful. I can feel this is going to be real powerful.
Mm,
So, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Soulogy. Thank you for coming in and sharing sacred space with me and everybody else that's going to be watching on live and on the replay because it's all the same thing. I'm looking forward to getting into a conscious conversation and see what you've been doing since the last time we talked like this. It's probably been 5 years. Uh, yeah, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on with us, and blessings of peace, love, and grace for us all.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
welcome back. Welcome back.
mm. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. So, shall I just say what's happening?
You go ahead. You start it.
Mm.
You tell me. You tell me what's happening.
Yeah, so what I was feeling was I was actually feeling the energy of Mother Mary coming in
Hmm.
right now. So that was what I was feeling.
Well, bring
Yeah.
that in. Yeah,
So like this,
yeah, bring it in.
yeah, I felt a motherly energy. So this deep love, softness, and huge embrace for like the whole world, actually, is what I'm feeling right now. So yeah, yeah. And also feeling southern France. I'm not there right now, but for some reason that came through as well. So the
Well,
Qatar region. Yeah.
yes, Qatar region,
Mm,
the Sophia Christos line,
mm. Yeah,
Rose
that's
Ray,
beautiful.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Mother Mary, I think, I know, I don't think, was the very first, like as a little kid, like, and of course I was raised Catholic, but I never really
Mm,
bought the whole thing, but I did pick up on the certain consciousnesses, first
mm,
her and then Yeshua, but Joseph, John the Baptist, other ones, but Mother Mary's always been the one um, for me, and I have been feeling her, the mother energy, in many forms, like Mother Earth, Mother Goddess, Mother Universe, Mother Mary. Mother Mary, like about a week ago, came in,
mm.
and I hadn't had that feeling in a long time. But yeah, it's a real thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I always love the fact that you don't know what comes through, so that makes it sort of very trustworthy for me. Like it's like, oh, I wasn't going to do anything with Mother Mary; it just came in. Like, yeah. So I think that's beautiful.
I think you should do anything that you feel like doing.
Mm,
I really do.
definitely, definitely.
So just to kind of give me a refresher and other people to get maybe to become familiar with you. Um, like everybody has their own piece of the puzzle. A lot of people I think have begun to understand that even the people that don't do podcasts, there's so many sisters like you, for instance, that are doing the work and have been doing the work for years and years and years and years in their own way. It could be grid work, it could be
Mm.
transmissions, it could be channeling, it could be art, it could be all of the above. What do you resonate with? What aligns with you? What are you doing now? And I know you're doing you. Everyone's doing themselves, but
Mm.
um, Where are you at right now with everything within yourself and what you're seeing in the world? How are you viewing everything?
It's a good question. I think the last time I was on your show was November 2021.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, I think I sort of had a more clear image back then. I sort of feel neutrality right now, and I don't have super much clarity around what is. Yeah, I don't like in that time I had many downloads coming in.
Mm,
That's not happening for me. So I sort of feel that my own process has also been about also connecting to my human self again and like this incarnation. Um, and there's a few things that I sort of feel strongly for, and then there's many things that I feel like, yeah, I'm not super specific about it. And
mm,
maybe that's also okay. Like, um, yeah, yeah. Maybe it's just also about not knowing things
yeah,
and about being open to many different experiences, also of other people.
yeah,
And yeah, feeling the power of sort of like witnessing my own process, but also like in my work, like just being a witness or just being someone who holds space. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been feeling. And for myself, like my process has really been about opening up to my soul's calling, but I've also been working with my own inner child. Like I've also been in situations where I felt called to do something for my soul and then I shrugged, for example, or like so I feel that that is still coming together.
mm.
That's what I'm actually feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me because, I've felt some of what you're feeling, even though, like I said, we might do different things, right? Like,
Mhm.
you'd probably do a lot of sessions. I mean, I have done a lot of podcasts, and for the last couple of years, I really slowed down a lot. Like I
Mhm.
went
Yeah.
from averaging like 65 a month to, if I had to average the last couple of years up to May, uh, I probably did 8 a month, maybe 10, on average. And part of it is because of what you're saying, like, in other words, if everything's being stripped away, then
Mhm.
everything's being stripped away. It's almost
Mhm.
like we gave you all this information. We're not going to give you any more. Now it's time to go out and do it. I really feel like 2025, or since the solstice of December 20, December 2024, something happened. Like we took a leap across to the second half of this experience where we start to apply what we've been given, and we're not just given, oh, I'm awake and I'm not just Todd. Uh, it's beyond that. It's like, now what do you want to do with it? So
Mhm.
do you feel like that? I mean, do you feel like that you're building something or about to start building something or something, something to that effect?
Yeah, what I most strongly feel is the spaciousness. So I also feel it now in like my lower belly, and that is sort of the biggest truth. So the space that can hold everything.
The
I don't
lower
know.
belly.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, but also the spaciousness and the 0 point field, like the neutrality.
Yeah.
I think, and but I yeah, and yeah, I don't know if I'm really building something. I'm sort of still like I'm still working as a psychologist. So I'm still like in what I would say my old job.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
then
that. So you're a licensed psychologist
yeah,
as well
yeah.
as a crazy person like us.
Yeah, and a crazy person. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I
That's
walked
pretty cool.
I did both paths actually, and I met in the middle, I think. So but yeah, I definitely am. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild.
And after our conversation, I think it was a year after, that was sort of important for me. I made a journey to England. It's a while ago now because it was 2022. But I made this journey in England, and that was leading me. I've been in Glastonbury, but I've also been like to different stone circles. And so that was really, yeah, opening. yeah, it was a very interesting journey because I actually even felt like when I was doing the journey that my eyesight got better. There were some things really funnily like being enhanced, but yeah, back then I really felt the work with the stargates, and
Mm.
so yeah, and then I came back to the Netherlands, and I feel like I'm still a bit in between right now myself. Like I'm still sort of a bit in my old life, and at some point I feel like there's the calling to travel again. Um, yeah, what I'm also experiencing, and it was interesting because when you asked me to the show, I super much like to be here, but I don't really feel like I have a message or something, but it's fine. But uh, even with doing the grid work, like it might open again, it might not, I don't know, right? So that's what you're saying about things are just falling away. Like you can't hold on to something like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm a grid worker, and then maybe in 3 months from now you're not anymore. Like,
Yeah, that's
you
what I'm
know,
talking about.
yeah,
I last year, well, first of all, it's interesting that we did the show in late 2021, December,
yeah,
because that's really when the whole COVID thing was
yeah,
peaking.
true.
Remember?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
2020, yeah, it got introduced like in March. And then about a year later, they started pushing the jab. And
yeah.
then it really built up. And then you also, it's interesting that you went on a journey because really, as much as that program or that presentation affected the whole world, I was shocked and amazed at how much it was put upon people in Europe,
It's
in some
true.
other countries like
Mm,
Canada and Australia, but
yeah,
particularly the Netherlands, because I have friends like you in the Netherlands, and I thought the Netherlands was like this really progressive, freewheeling, freestyling place, and
yeah,
man, they
yeah.
came down hard over there. So that
Mhm.
would have had to have an impact. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, yeah, I mean, like for me, it became like this slow, um, like you were taking your clothes off. You're like,
Mhm.
okay, this has got to go. My hat's got to
Yeah,
go. My boots got to go. And
yeah,
I ended up actually uh, closing, shutting down SoulogyNetwork.com, which had been running about a year to 15 months because my soul wouldn't let it do me. The energies weren't right. And I couldn't, have people subscribing and not doing the production level that we had committed to, and also to deliver the right thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I understand.
I feel like what you're talking about is it's not about like what you said. Okay, what am I going to say? I don't know
Mm,
if I have anything to offer, but I think the offering is actually in the retelling and the storytelling and in the oral tradition,
mm,
of
mm,
this is what
mm.
I'm experiencing, this is where I'm at, this is what's
Yeah,
happened to me. So
definitely.
you had a big trip into England, and then it's been what, 2 or 3 years since then, and you're kind of walking in two worlds as a psychologist and as a energy healer.
Yeah, yeah, energy or multidimensional guide or something like
Do
that.
you
Definitely.
ever so you have a literal old school psychologist practitionership in that world, right? And then you have
Yeah,
this. So
yeah.
do you ever have situations where you're doing a clinical psychology session with a patient, where you start to introduce some of this crazy stuff in?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm working for a company now, and they are actually one of the, I think I would say one of the most holistic working
Oh, cool.
companies within the healthcare system. So they also offer breath work and family constellations, things like that. So, and I do get people there that most of the time they are quite spiritual, yeah, or they are sort of opening it up. So that I had one. And one client also remembering that her aunt was like a medium, and she was like, "I might be that too." And I was like, "Yeah, you probably are." So that's really nice. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I think I think this subject does have my heart because I sort of feel that, and it has been the same for me, like that it's so valuable to be seen on the soul level, and that's so healing, right? If you can also integrate your gifts and your magic, and at the same time also work through some of your like trauma or patterns that you've learned. But yeah, if we can do it both, that's for me, that's the most, I think I like that the most as well. So
So that
yeah.
sounds pretty cool. You've attracted or aligned with yeah, with a consciousness that's more congruent with what with you. Um, do you do that? Do they do this now, or do you see them doing this possibly? Things such as like QHHT,
Mhm.
hypnosis type things like past life regression,
Mm.
maybe dimensional connections to other aspects. Do you see that as
Mm.
being in the future of clinical psychology?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about because I think there are many psychologists that already use hypnosis. I'm not so sure if that would be like really scientifically. I don't really know that. We have this system where we have insurance companies, right? And they are sort of like yeah,
Big pharma's,
monitoring, yeah,
yeah,
monitoring what's happening. Yeah,
yeah,
so I do it. So if something comes up around a past life of someone, or there's something in the family lineage, then I definitely open it up if I'm in a session. But I
mm,
would not, well, I would also even write that down, but I do also need to write in the same report that I also did like cognitive behavioral therapy or something, you know, which you can always do when you talk about thoughts. So, but I do feel there's also valuable things in clinical psychology, like the focus on thoughts and parts work, working with visualization. So there's things that I have been revaluing that I
right.
felt like they're still, but like QHHT. No, that's not really there yet. Yeah, it would be beautiful. I think it should be all broken open. Like I don't really understand this difference between regular and
Right.
alternative medicine. And I even read and I'm not so sure how, so I read an article like last week that said that, let's see, depression might not even be linked to serotonin or something. So all antidepressants, I don't know, there was like a new study. And the thing is just that everything could be different in a year, right? We could have like different scientific evidence for things. And yeah, so I would really love for it to be far more open and for people to be able to choose their own medicine, actually.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
systems, because that might be interesting. I also had a time that I didn't pay for my, I had a time after we talked that I was like very low on cash. So I've really had like this poverty kind of like period, which was quite intense as well.
What do you, that's
But
all I've, that's normal, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I couldn't pay for my, we have, we need to have health insurance here. So I couldn't pay for that. But there's a few things like I've I've really uh, gone sort of frontal with a few systems in the Netherlands because if you live a little different, it starts to become a bit hard because there's like no, you're not within the rules, and then things are becoming a bit difficult. So you can't be uninsured. Well, you can if you would have like religious reasons, but there's just a few
You
things
mean
that
it's
are that
mandatory? It's
yeah, it's
mandatory.
mandatory.
They
Yeah.
try to do that. And, I haven't had insurance since probably 2003,
Mm.
but they tried to do that here under Obama. And they,
Yeah.
and I was on poverty level with, a very, um, I don't know what the word is, ill, partner at the time and four kids in the house. And they actually sent me, so I filled out the form thinking, oh, I can get insurance, for my family and all that. And yeah, and they sent me a thing back, and this was in 2000, I don't know, maybe eight, I guess. And they sent me a thing back and said, okay, yeah, we can get you on. It's going to cost $1,400 a month, American. And I'm like, I can't afford $1,400. What are you
Yeah.
talking? And
That's a
then they sent
lot.
me like this thing that said, you got to do it, or we're going to start taking it. We're going to start,
Yeah.
you're going to owe us money for it, or something like
Yeah.
that. And I just like, this is crazy. But going back to
Yeah.
what you were talking about,
Hmm.
Yeah, I was talking about like, yeah, wouldn't that be crazy if you went to see a psychologist and they said, "Hey, let's do a hypnosis and go past life regression, or let's see
Yeah,
what your galactic connection is, or your
yeah,
or your elemental thing, or whatever." I remember when I first woke up. A lot of people know I went out on the streets and lived on the streets for 2 years by my
yeah.
own choice. I was also in trouble. I was also a typical light worker, hellraiser, and
Right.
uh, and and really through the set of perfection circumstances or whatever, I was on probation, and I was able to slide through that probation for about a year and a half. It was 2 years, and uh, and then things happened, and I hit a point where I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm okay. I want
Yeah.
to go see a psychologist,
Mhm.
psychiatrist, whatever. And I did. I went to see a psychiatrist. They had this 5-part test
Mhm.
that they give you. I guess it's standard, right? And so before you have the test, you have a talk.
Mhm.
And my soul told me, when you go in and talk to these people, tell them everything. Tell them you
Yeah.
have 6 ascended masters that have visited you, that Jesus showed up, Mary
Mhm.
Magdalene showed up, Archangel Michael showed up, these 3 spirit guides showed up. You talk to animals, you, you talk to trees. So I tell this psychiatrist the whole thing, and we go into about the third of the third test of maybe the third or fourth, and he stopped it. He said, "You're fine. You can leave." You know
Wow.
what I mean? And then when
Yeah.
I went to see the psychologist who was at the rehab center that I went to for 3 months, who's still a friend of mine today, I told her everything, you know? So I'm just
Beautiful.
wondering, like, I wonder how much people don't tell because of the way the system's set up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's so like it's very much depending on through which company you come in, which individual you have as a psychologist
Mhm.
or a psychiatrist, and what you need in your journey, right, as well. So I think the last time I talked about sort of my own experience in psychiatry, and yeah, but I think it's just dependent on what you need. Like um, let's see if I say that correctly. Yeah. I met some people that didn't completely believe what I was experiencing, but it was also because it was important for me to own my experience and to
Mm.
own my power. So I think that is why I had that experience at that moment, right? So yeah, like reality is quite fluid, I think. So, but yeah, but it's also strange that psychology and psychiatry are so evidence-based
Mm.
when we also have this whole history. If you look at Jung, for example, like
Yeah,
he also wrote down so many of his experiences, and he, yeah.
exactly.
So
I just came across this about 2 months ago, and I've been researching a little bit when I've had time. He wrote a book called, I think it's called Red.
the red book,
The Red Book,
yeah,
yeah. And he talks about he talks about what we talk about. He talks about
yeah,
ETs.
yeah,
Um, but he's interesting. I really, really am fond of his work. But if you go back to like what we were talking about, your situation, your experience, in that industry. But if you go back about 110 years, 120 years, everything was different, you know? I
yeah,
mean, medicine was holistic. I mean, there was a whole different ball game here. So
definitely,
it's almost like what you're talking about, and it's a big part, is one of, some big parts of some type of whatever that's, been put in place to kind of keep us,
yeah,
like for
so
instance, keep us in a state of saying, "Oh, I have to get insurance." Or
yeah,
I have to pay my taxes, or,
yeah,
and the reality is we don't.
hmm,
But that doesn't mean, oh, well, I'm just not going to do it. And then, the university's going to come in and everything's going to be perfect. I don't know. Maybe it will be. I don't know. But those things, do you feel like that, like that industry in your country is being deconstructed as they talk about, these systems and infrastructures are going to be deconstructed and taken apart?
Yeah, I actually hope so. But but because I do feel like I like there's also so there's also a part of me that feel so I also know people that like the fact that it's so well arranged, right? And that feel the care of the system. So I want to offer that as well because sometimes I can also like step into these discussions from like my what would it be like my puberal self that wants to like fight authority or something.
Yeah,
And
of course. Yeah.
yeah, so and that's something that I need to feel inside myself, I think. But yeah, I feel like in the Netherlands there's so many rules, like this it's going to like sort of um stagnate or something. There's just a rule about everything, right?
Right,
And
right. No, I know. It's crazy.
yeah, so that's actually really strange. And I hope, like I told you that I there's also this group in the Netherlands of people that are yeah, they have started in COVID time and they're sort of like they're having a lot of webinars with doctors and lawyers and people to see if there's like yeah ways to get the systems to open up. Um, yeah, because it's just
That's
strange. Like
interesting.
I yeah,
Go ahead.
like there's many things for me happening around. It's like I also have something with the taxes company, so I need to pay some tax, but I feel on some level that I don't have to. But yeah, that's but I've also been feeling sometimes, okay, but who is it? Like the tax company? What is this entity? Like, can I speak to the core of this? And I can't, and that's sort of hard, right?
Mm,
Um, so so yeah. And I also had to think, but I'm going from here to there. Like I was also thinking about the war in Gaza and I was thinking, yeah, I
yeah.
could also write a letter to our king, right? Like, because I don't know, it's like, but when I wanted to do that, I start to feel sort of powerless. So I also feel like it's also not about that anymore. It's not about the government anymore, actually.
No, no.
They're
No, I
not.
mean you bring up a good point, and you're in a very distinct role because I can only imagine because I'm not you, but I'm going in there as a practitioner within a system that I know is um, what rigid, uh,
It's rigid,
and
yeah.
you might even say intimidating. Like people don't even question it, right? And you have these individual experiences with patients, and the the equilibrium or neutrality or soul that you carry with you in that moment, I would imagine is part of the reason, part of the force and the influence that's breaking these things down. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It
yeah.
really is because you're right. It's not about the industries and the corporations and the insurance companies. This change is happening within people. And I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know
so
about
too.
you, and I want to ask you, but I
Hmm.
have noticed, and some people have talked about it on the shows this year as we've got them going again, how they're seeing the change in people that used to think they were crazy,
Mm,
people that we might have said they weren't awake or they were 3D. A lot of
yeah.
people were talking about their own family members. So I just wonder, in your experience with all this craziness going on, are you seeing more people that are opening up at least and questioning things?
Mm. Maybe since COVID time, but I'm also thinking very strongly about the 60s, the hippie time, like that it's sort of thing coming, like it's coming in waves for some
Mm,
reason.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I can't, I don't know.
Well, if
Because like
that's the case,
I do see my clients that are more spiritual, but it's also because I moved to a more spiritual company, right?
right, right.
So but I feel like it's really more about being heart-based more than sort of being spiritual. I
Yes.
feel that is the core of it. And um yeah, and that can be everywhere. Um but I don't know, I still mm, yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
like everybody has their own method or way.
Mhm.
I know, because I know quite a few people that hold you in a very high regard. Like
Mhm.
you are a light on the path. There's no
Mm,
question.
mm,
Uh, and and now that I'm getting refreshed on your whole, you know,
experience.
life, the way that you're
Mm,
experiencing it, at least in general,
mm.
do you have I don't know, do you have a standard routine or certain, like Mother Mary, or certain things that you do every day to keep you balanced and grounded?
Well, one thing that I do, well, I should have more of a routine, but one thing that I do, and it's very important for me, is to send energy back to clear my field and ask my energy to come back to me. That's something that's super important.
So,
So,
okay, so do you send it out, or you're just saying
yeah,
as you're going about your day, you're sending energy
I
out,
would,
and at the end of the
yeah.
day, maybe you pull it all back in,
Yeah,
something like
so I
that.
send
Okay, I got you.
energy of others back, and then I ask my energy to come back, and that's what I also do with my clients. So with few of my clients as
It's a
well.
good idea.
So
Yeah.
just to cleanse my field, and sometimes I ground myself as well, and I sometimes do this a 12-dimensional shield. So then I pull up a shield, right, and
Uh,
I fill it with light, and then I get anchor. Um, yeah, and but I think the things that I enjoy most at the moment is going for a cup of coffee somewhere and then meeting a stranger and having a little talk. That's something that I really like. And
uh-huh.
so, but like now we're talking, I also feel like I think I've been a bit on the safe side these last 2 years, and maybe also because I needed to integrate some things. And so my soul is sort of feeling like, yeah, I could go on a trip again, but I also don't want to go very ungrounded. So I've also been feeling like I want to, I want to be a bit more, have a bit more fundaments, and yeah, not going on a especially crazy trip, but be a bit more grounded. Um, yeah,
Well, I think you'd
so
be
that,
fine. I think you'd be fine. You just have to activate your fairy wings.
yeah, I do.
Hey, hey,
But yeah,
R Rachel, Rachel Naomi Lees. She said,
yeah.
I hold her in very high regard. She says,
Mm,
um,
mm,
her multidimensional readings are
mm.
wild.
Yeah, that's super
What are
cool.
your multidimensional readings like? Like, can you describe it? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
is it now, is this the typical kind of session you do, energy session you do? Is it a multidimensional
yeah. That would be
reading? Okay, I
multidimensional
got you.
reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do it one to one or through voice message, and that's just actually that I tune into your soul. Like I'm seeing you're a wizard, for example, and you're a time traveler.
Wait,
And-
hang on. I want to hear that. Hey, can you do this now? You want to do it now?
Yeah, I can definitely
Let me
do it
turn my
now.
mic on mute because I'm getting,
Yeah,
okay.
I will
Go
do it
ahead.
now. Okay. So what I'm feeling with you is, well, I have to say first, please take what resonates, leave what doesn't, right? Because that's always the most important thing.
Mm.
But for you, I'm actually feeling this, the energy of a wizard. And I'm getting the word bubbly wizard. So that would be like with bubbles, like bloop, 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 bloop. And oh wow, I'm seeing many different things. I also saw you were a time traveler, and you have sort of like a function in the universe to work with time. But I was also seeing an image of like your face and becoming very big and then being made out of smoke. So that's like a shamanic thing, is what I'm getting. It's like a ghost, kind of like, but it's just your face and then it's completely smoke. I have to think a little bit of do you know Studio Ghibli, the anime? I don't know, for some reason I have to think
What is
about
it?
that.
What is it?
Studio Ghibli, that's like Japanese, I think, anime.
Oh,
And
yeah. Okay.
yeah. Okay, so I had to think about something in that in there, but yeah. So it, um, hmm. Yeah. So then that phase of smoke can also like change places, and where I'm getting now is like a place in North America, and I'm feeling like this is part, and I'm getting bison, so I'm seeing bison right now, and I feel like this is part of your sort of tribal, maybe, yeah, parallel former lifetime where you were living in tribe. I'm actually seeing you. This is a very beautiful image. And I'm actually seeing you sitting down, and you're sort of like there. A bison has like cut his leg, and you're like healing it. It's actually very beautiful because I just feel the love between you and the bison, like the love between the human and the animal, and the care that you give to the animal. So I feel like you've even touched bison blood is what I get. And that might be your medicine name, bison blood or something like that. So, and I feel the bison for me, um, there's this feeling of like many bison going over the, how do you call that? Walking over the ground and then just the trembling of it, that feeling. Uh, I hear that they are very big, big spirits. Well, and then I go into the dolphin, etc. But this is like how it goes, and sometimes it also so goes to like childhood. So for me, the perfect thing to sort of offer would be a combination of this and psychology, right? Where we also go maybe into like things from this lifetime, and we also go in the family lineage, whatever is necessary. But I feel like the core of it is always, and it's easy to say, but the core of it is always love. And like, if that is, like in this way, I could very, very deeply feel that with you in the bison is like so beautiful. So, so it doesn't even matter if things are true or not. It's just like a way to transfer energy and love, right? To
Mm-hmm.
make it feasible and feelable. Yeah. So,
That's
but I,
amazing. You're
it's super
amazing.
beautiful.
You're amazing. Yeah, because yeah, and you're right. Yeah, to whether it's like an experience you have like with an apparition, or a past life memory, um, you don't hold on to it.
No.
It's part of you,
Yeah.
and you're right. It is an exchange or an offering of energy. And it's funny because since I came down to Mexico, the first
Mm,
day I went into
mm.
a metaphysical shop in downtown Central
Wow.
District of Puerto Vallarta. They had like plant medicine brownies, and they had a coffee bar, and they had all these paintings and all these couches, and people could go in there and have an experience or whatever. But I just happened to go over there with someone that lived here that had been on the show. Called me up, hey, you want to go? So I did rapé,
Mm,
and I'd never done it before. Not real rapé. It was from Peru,
mm,
and
mm, mm.
and man, I went and my eyes went black, and I just started chanting, and I felt
Wow.
like I was this Indian chief standing on a
Yeah,
cliff,
that too.
singing to nature, and but then
Oh,
so anyway, so
mm.
that's it's almost like the indigenous parts never left me, but it really it really jumped another level when I got here last year. And then the crazy thing is too, as you were talking about this, I didn't understand what you were saying for a minute, and then I realized you're talking about buffalo, bison.
Oh, White
Uh,
Buffalo, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
no, it was just because your accent. And but you know that my three spirit guides and the two lives I remember the most were Lakota Indian,
Mm,
which is North America, which is in the plains,
mm,
which is the
mm.
bisons were a huge part of their existence.
Yeah.
And my three spirit guides, one was my father, one was my brother, and one was my
Mm,
uncle. And
mm,
so, and then the other thing that's interesting when you were telling me this, I think the first memory that I have that was, let's say, after the flood. So, like, say,
mm,
10,000 years ago or something. I don't know.
mm,
I was standing on a cliff with a
mm,
friend of mine who I met a few years ago, and we were watching all these bison running,
mm,
through the canyon. But
mm.
yeah, you're amazing. Yeah. So you mix the psychology with your gift of the sight that you have.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I love that. That's the most beautiful thing. I once saw it like as like so if you use sort of the soul to like make a person feel bigger and wider, it's also easier to go deep,
Oh,
right? So it's sort of like it
oh, I
helps to
see
sort of
what you
keep the
mean.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you
Yeah.
mean.
So that's
So
what I'm,
you connect with them at a soul level. They feel it,
yeah,
and then that allows them
let's go
to
deeper.
maybe speak about things that they normally wouldn't speak about and go through fears that they have, and step through
Yeah.
the fears that they have. Yeah.
Yeah, because because you connect to this bigger one, right?
Mm,
That can hold it, actually. Yeah.
wow. So, do you have? Uh, I mean, everything's changed so much since 2012. I mean, I know for some people it was before that, but uh, everything's so different, like communication's different, connections different. You can see truth much easier. I'm just curious, like when you go out and about, when you have to, do you have to turn it off? Do you have to turn off
Yeah,
the,
I might sometimes need to turn it off. Yes. I can get very overwhelmed still sometimes. So
yeah, yeah,
but sometimes I'm also going for impulse. So I've been living in the forest for a long time,
uh-huh,
and since autumn I've been going back and forth to Amsterdam because sometimes I just wanted to be around people and just get some more impulses.
right,
So
right.
so yeah. But I'm still like I'm in a hotel now since yesterday, and then yesterday night I'm here. I'm like, oh my, the fuck the Wi-Fi. Feel the Wi-Fi, right? Like,
Oh, wow, wow.
but at the same time, things also I can get used to it. So yeah. But it differs. It differs definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that okay, so like you were talking about I think earlier you were talking about not being shut down, but something about like less is coming in or something like that. I've heard a lot of people talk about this,
Yeah,
but
less downloads.
yeah,
Less
yeah, less
downloads.
downloads. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but by the same token, because every part of us is evolving and changing, because that's what it's all
Mhm.
about, right? I mean, that's just it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But in terms of like your sensitivity, or let me call it your gifts, your piece of the puzzle,
Yeah.
is that changing? Does it feel like it's getting stronger? Is your third eye getting more open, or would you say it's the same for you? Because I know a lot of people like you, kind of, especially a lot of the sisters, started to put this stuff in place years ago in their own lives and practicing the transmissions and the channelings and the the sessions and all that. Has anything changed in terms of your abilities or your experiences?
I would only think say that I maybe got a bit more grounded.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely because I think in 2021 I didn't offer the readings, the multidimensional readings yet. So I think that was in the time that it was opening. And I
Right.
think I started offering them from 2022 onwards. Also when I was in England, that's where that all of it started. And I met someone that also opened this more in me. So yeah, that has definitely opened up. Definitely.
So
Yeah.
you met somebody over there. It sounds kind of juicy.
Oh, juicy. No, it was just someone I
I'm
met that
kidding. I'm
yeah,
just
it
kidding.
was a little juicy as well.
No.
Yeah, but it also ended. But no, it was.
Um,
Yeah.
God, what'd you just say? Oh, yeah. So I think,
Just,
and I haven't heard this before, but okay, I have heard this. Not so much from people like me, because I tend to be more organic, and then
mm.
that stuff's being pulled in, or maybe that's the masculine. I don't know. But I have heard a lot of sisters talking about I need to be more grounded because they are out here. That's
Yeah,
it's more normal for them to be out here,
yeah.
but that they're being required to ground. Do you feel like that there's a direct relationship to the more you started to ground, the more your gifts started to open up?
Mm. No, not so much actually. Well, like I think I shared a lot. And like I had sort of two awakenings, like one in 2014 and one I think around 2019, 2020, and they were both quite intense. So everything was like, "Ugh." And yeah, that was really like a mess actually, sort of. So I think it's more like falling into place now, right? So the beginning was like when I talked to you, I think in 2021, I would go into the forest and I would be seeing elven portals the whole day, and I would like be walking in the forest for 6 hours, and then like la la, la
Yeah.
like, and um, and then at some point. That became a little less, so I came a bit more back to myself, more periods that I just experienced silence, and um, yeah, I don't know. So I think it's more becoming part of like, yeah, it's more sort of as if it's more integrating more. That's what I would say, and maybe refining as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I've practiced a lot as well. I've also, it was interesting because I've also been on a Facebook page for a while where people would like add their pictures, and then you would like practice with your with your gifts, which was really nice. But it also gave me sort of like a check, like, okay, how in tune am I, right? And
Mm,
so, but I can also imagine in my case that when I would at some point step into the travels again, that things will open up more strongly for me because I know, like when if I would go to southern France or certain places, I feel like that will really activate me or uh, bring back certain memories. So, and I think this is just what many of us actually are able to do. Like I know quite some practitioners that do the same thing as I do. I feel it's something that we do in the quantum field. Like I can't, it's sometimes hard to explain what you exactly do, but when you do it, it's like super normal actually, or it's like uh I hear we practice it for lifetimes, but I don't know, it's like, yeah. So it's sort of opening up the energy and feeling the forms and then translating them and yeah, it's sort of weaving, I think is what it
mm.
is. And
I'm just curious.
yeah,
Oh, by the way, I want to tell you too, another thing came back to me. When
yeah.
you were talking about the smoky face,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
smoky face, so cool.
that when but no, years ago, because I had like these six ascendeds when I woke up in 2011. I had like these six ascendeds which each came in and spent a couple of weeks with me, right? And
Yeah,
they were all prophets in the Bible,
yeah,
right? Um,
beautiful.
but then at some point, I had an experience where I was invited up on this kind of stage thing, and there was all these holy men in the audience, and I think it was John the Baptist and Jesus were
Mhm,
standing at the
mhm,
podium,
mhm,
telling me to come up to the podium. It was some kind of uh, integration or
mhm.
embodiment, I guess. But as I was walking to the podium from the side of the stage, I looked to my left, and in six chairs were each one of those masters, and their face, their bodies all came together and formed one face.
Oh,
it
wow.
was it made me remind me of that. It reminded me of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I felt it coming, like Jesus coming through you as well, like a little while back. So, but yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. I can feel that energy, and I think it's like sometimes I like what I've also experienced. Like I've had this time where I was continuously in the spiritual domains, and I was feeling this love all the time. And then there was like sometimes now I'm just a human, and I'm just in my human fuzz, and I forget a little bit about it. And it's a strange thing because there's been a time that I was more on a high,
mm,
right?
mm,
But like when you share when you tell that to me, you tell that to me about these people, I can just feel it in my heart, and I think that's just the most beautiful thing. I have that when I go into churches as well. Like I feel like on some level I'm super like I'm not religious, but I'm very deep into the how do you call that devotion or something. Like I can also church is like when I'm in sometimes in the church, I'm like I could just sit here forever, and I don't have to do anything. I could just sit here
yeah, yeah,
because then I can feel that it's just the heavenly or the heavenly energy, I think. And maybe that's part of what said earlier. Like I have confusion sometimes right now about what to create because I also know like that there's also a level in which I don't have to do anything, and that's sometimes confusing because I can manifest a lot in this life, but I sometimes also feel like it doesn't really matter at the same time. I could just sit in a church,
right, right.
you know?
No, I can relate to that. I can relate to that
Yeah.
because the way I look at it is okay. Because I have this thing too. There's one here in this little Mexican town. There's a plaza, where
Hmm.
like a big,
I
yeah,
saw
like a,
it.
yeah.
Was
Oh
it with
yeah,
the
I
white
did.
chairs?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I saw it.
Somebody was having a some kind of anniversary or something. It's crazy. They had
Yeah.
this big plastic container with this liquid in it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was alcoholic. I don't know if it was, everybody was drinking it and everybody was eating cake and then they had the music. But behind me where I was taking that picture, I think I panned over to it for a second, is this church. And I've always had this thing, even though I know there's a lot of fuckery and there's all that stuff, but I've always felt that there's a thread of truth in everything. So as an
Yeah,
example,
yeah, I feel that too, what you're
when
saying
I
now.
drink
I feel it too.
water, a lot of times I'll have to, get water that's in a plastic bottle, which we know there's plasticity and, and they played with the water, but I just look at it, well, I know that's the mother and she can't be contaminated So I just
Mhm.
go to the thread of truth there. But anyway,
Understand.
going back to what you were talking about, many times in my journey, which I didn't know I would be doing it here, but many times when I'm not troubled, but I need to ground or I need to, I'll go into a church and just sit there and just kneel. You know, I'm not praying to Jesus. I'm not praying. I'm just sitting in the space. It's almost like familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me, it's for me,
So
for my soul as well. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. It's sort of like feel like maybe, yeah. I feel like it's the same energy that our souls are made of. So, and I've also felt the white lights. Like, yeah,
how do you feel about,
Mm.
and I know it doesn't matter. It's no right or wrong. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
That's good talking to you again. It really is.
yeah. I love it as well,
I,
very
I
much.
did so
Yeah,
many shows, I forget sometimes. I always remember the people, but sometimes I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I remember her energy now. But like, like, how do you, I mean, I don't even know how any of us from our human mind can comprehend what we're doing and what's happening. Like it just seems to be like that atmosphere is bigger than us. You know, it is us, but it's bigger than us. And there is that letting go of having to know and all that stuff. But how do you feel about the direction that we're headed? You know, especially after this that you went through the past 2 years. I went through it. I know so many people that like shut it down and over the last year or 2 years and are now almost like rebuilding, like we're coming out
yeah,
again.
yeah.
You
That's
know what
what
I
it
mean?
is about. Yeah,
Uh, how do you feel about, the work that we've done individually and together and where it's headed now? Do you still get kind of pulled down by some of the stuff that's not right that's happening, like Gaza, like COVID, like things like
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. So one of the things is where I sometimes wonder, I think that we're also all living in a different reality because we're like creating it.
Each one of
But
us.
yeah,
You
I
mean
think
each
that's
one?
what I
Yeah, I
think.
agree.
But
Yeah, I agree. Eight,
yeah,
eight,
so
8 billion Earths, 8 billion people.
yeah, so I wonder if in some people's reality there's no Gaza. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. But at the same time, yeah, I don't I really don't understand that. I really can't understand that. And I also don't really understand like that I'm not really doing something about it. Like it's super strange. And I think it's also super strange that our governments are like not speaking up about it. I think it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I
Well, they're all working in an institutional structure like the medical, like you were talking about. It's where there's all these rigid rules and stuff, and nobody questions them because they've been going on for, it was just like
yeah,
COVID. COVID. The
yeah,
people were
it's
told,
true.
go do this, go do that, and they did it and didn't even think
But
about it.
it's interesting because what I start to feel when I talk about it is this like this feeling of having no influence, right? And that is like super characteristic
Oh,
for
yes,
trauma
it is.
survivors.
Yeah,
Like when you like definitely when you have trauma in childhood, like feeling in Dutch is machteloos, that's the word, but like feeling like you don't have any power or something. It's
wow,
really coming from there. But that
that's a
was what
very
I
good
was
point.
feeling. So if I'm waiting for my government to do something, nothing is really going to happen.
No,
So like this, her name Greta Thunberg, like
yeah,
that went there on the boat. Like, wow, that's just like because actually, if we would all now say, okay, I don't pay my taxes anymore or whatever, or I leave this country because you're behind Gaza, that would
yeah.
be sort of like standing up
I
for
think
other
that's
people.
yeah. I think that's okay. I don't care because I'm not afraid to die. but I think okay, what you said
Yeah,
about you feel that it's very possible that we're all having a separate reality. I strongly believe that, and somehow or another, they are representing multiple timelines, right?
yeah,
Like it's
that's
like
definitely true.
like
It's
you and
multiple
me could have,
timelines.
you know what I mean? So, but I remember before I woke up, it was 8 years before I woke up. Um, I was in a situation where I had to leave the corporate world, leaving making a lot of money. I had a second marriage. I had a lot of child support based on my old income.
Yeah,
So I had a lot of massive pressure. Monetary pressure was one, and I couldn't pay taxes. So I just stopped. And about 3 years into it, um, I got a letter and it said, you owe a lot. Like it was a lot. Like it was like $175,000. And my soul must have come over. And there's a reason I'm telling you this.
Mhm.
My soul must have came in because it, you know, that Bruce Lee thing where he says, take your fear, whatever, and you put it in a ball and you wad it up, light it on fire and throw it away. Well, I took the letter and I wadded it up and I said, this is no longer in my reality.
Yeah,
And that was it. So
beautiful.
I think like what I'm getting is like
Yeah,
what you're talking about is maybe what's happening is where we don't have influence in our own perception based on the old descriptions from what the Matrix gave us. But we do have influence in our
for
own
us.
way, doing
Yeah,
our own thing. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm
that's
in
definitely true.
Mexico. I'll probably go claim asylum because I don't know if I'm going to go back to the United States. You know what I mean? So maybe it's not for the exact reason that you were talking about, and maybe it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, almost like we're going to govern ourselves, and by
Mhm.
virtue of that, these threads will connect, and
Me
those
too.
things that we've judged our progress on will start to come into balance and equanimity and love.
Yeah.
But it's not based on trying to fix things in the old way. It's based
Mhm.
on how the energy that we carry in this new
Yeah.
consciousness that's coming on board, which I don't think you can argue with that part of it.
Mhm.
Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, also I was thinking of something about that, but mm, no, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think you represent what you know what I'm feeling and what I think a lot of people are feeling, and I love what you said earlier about there's some days I just feel human, like you know what I mean? I'm like I feel like crying, and I do, or
Mhm, mhm,
or I'm
mhm,
like
mhm.
you know something's you know could be something I saw on X, you know, about Gaza. It could be, and I'm really
Yeah.
human with it. And you know, the only thing, and I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I've landed where I've landed, which was just came out of nowhere. Uh, I'm lucky because I can walk 2 blocks and I'm on the beach with my feet in the sand. But I have found that when I'm in that space where I'm really human and it's like you almost want to pull your hair out, uh, I'll just walk out, you know, into either the town
In
or to
nature.
the beach, and
Yeah.
it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I do nature or I go drink some coffee where there's other people. Then usually someone starts to talk to me and then things usually shift. So well, I think now what's now coming up is, I think, yeah, okay. So I think one of the things that I experience in myself and that I think is at the core of this is like this feeling of being a child and the playfulness of a child and
Mm.
like the enjoyment that that brings. I sort of also feel that that is like the core of our soul.
That is like the bubble wizard.
That's a
That
bubble wizard. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
but you're right. It's the
It's that
childlike
world.
wonder. It's a
Yeah.
childlike wonder.
Yeah, and the joy and the playfulness and exploration and
Yeah.
like the unbound imagination and
Yeah.
creativity and things like that. But that's yeah, that's the pure us, I think, or the
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think if we
yeah,
look back on our childhood, you know, or maybe in moments where we have unconsciously, just because it's been spontaneous and we're present, we've had this childlike wonder kind of a field and we create something. You look back at it and go, oh my God, that was powerful. Because when you really think, when you first think about, you know, like the term childlike wonder or innocence, you don't think about the power of it. Like
It's
that's
true.
pure.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that,
true.
like, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, it's true.
darkness cannot even stand in that space
Yeah, it's
because
unblocked, right?
yeah, you're just like, you know, you're pure energy. You're
Yeah,
pure, you're like a
it is pure
star.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is. I feel it now
I get
in
it.
my body.
I get it here. Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm getting a lot in these collaborations. I get in the lower part of the stomach and it'll start like, you know, start like what it does, you know, like tickling and, you know, like it's a Kundalini, it's a chi,
Yeah,
right?
it
Um,
is.
but I get it a lot here because it's a very authentic town. It's not been commercialized. It's all workers. And so that's why I said I can either go to the beach or I can walk down the street. You know, the streets are cobblestone and they're muddy, and there's organically speaking trash on the corner where everybody puts it, and then there's these dogs everywhere, you know, and they're just like, I've never walked through a town with hundreds of dogs and they're all just super chill, you know, they're just nobody. And then
I love
I,
dogs, really.
right,
Mine is also
uh,
chilling out on the couch. Like
but it's
they're
crazy
great.
because if you go to America, everybody's got them on a leash.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
they're all like taking on the psyches of their owners and all their programs, and they're like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," you
They're on
know,
a leash.
you
Yes.
know what I mean? Exactly, exactly. And
I used to have a friend, like I did art academy a very long time ago, and I have a very creative friend. She also made a book like why you should never grow up or something. But she always had these funny things, and then I would get like an SMS in the evening. She would tell me like, Djoeke, it's so strange. Why are people walking around with animals on a leash? I don't
I know,
understand, right? But
isn't
it's
that
super
crazy?
strange. It is
No,
very strange.
it's crazy to even think. Okay, now I'm not against. I'm living with two cats now, and they've taught me a lot. I'm pet sitting and house sitting. One's a
Hmm.
male, one's a female. But even and in fact, I've talked about this on the show. The female speaking to me, like I've never heard an animal like this. Like it's literally, and it's not just the animal, the
Yeah, it's
soul.
beautiful. Yeah, it's
It's
the
to me,
soul.
it's more like an
Yeah,
oversoul, right? Because
yeah,
it's like a
me too.
feminine voice. And but I was thinking about the routine of it all, and I was just thinking about it all. And the other reason I'm thinking about this, because when I walk to the beach, there's an old like I don't know what you'd call it, like a bull ring or some kind of arena where they have horses and stuff, and they take care of them there. And so sometimes when I was walking by there, yesterday it happened. There was a beautiful white horse and a beautiful brown horse, and they were both tied to a tree.
Mm, mm,
And I thought, man, that's and then I was communicating with the horses, and the white horse, as I was approaching, stomped his hoof on the ground, boom, 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 like he wasn't happy. And I
yeah,
said, hey, everything's okay. Everything's okay. And eventually everything was fine, and I made connection with him. But I thought to myself, what gives us the right to
mm,
own a pet?
mm.
Now think
It's
about this.
crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, think about this. If we have the mentality that we can own, and not just there, not just another being, a sentient being, but even a house or
Yeah, it's
even
true.
anything, right? Um, well, if that's the case, what's happening above us? Is somebody trying to own
On
us
us. Yeah,
and we're just perpetuating it?
yeah.
So I really feel like what you were talking about with like the, insurance, taxes, or
I think that's the core.
choosing to
Yeah,
influence the field by leaving the country because of their stance on Gaza, or all these different things. Um, I really feel like that things are moving so fast that that's what's going to be happening. People are going to say, you know what? I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen to me. I'm tired of this bullshit, and
mm,
I'm going to let these horses go. I'm
yeah,
going to, I'm going to walk away from these things. I'm going to give
yeah,
up these things,
yeah.
because I think the collective in
It's ready.
general is tired.
Yeah, I
Like
think so
we're
too.
tired, like, you know what?
Well, there's a few things. Well, it's funny. I'm a psychologist, so I always write things down, and then I'm like, oh, I can't show it to you.
Yeah,
Okay, I can talk about this. It's a funny
go.
pattern.
Go ahead.
But what I wanted to say about that is, um, yeah, I think people are tired. But what I'm also sort of observing with friends of mine that have a family is like how much they have to work to be able to own a house and things like that. It's so unhealthy because you just want people to be able to experience and enjoy their lives and their children and things like that, right? So I feel the pressure is quite high. But the other thing I was wanting to tell you is that all the things we talked to up till now, I think, are about equality. So I feel like, and I feel like that are the soul codes that you also have sort of activated in you, and I feel that they are important as well. It's like that we're being equal to each other being, right? But also to big institutions. And I just want to be taken seriously. Like I'm okay to go into conversation, but I'm not okay with a one-sided policy. Like I also have a bank that has sort of like pressed me to do something. And I told them like, I don't have a voice, you know, like and maybe that's something all that I need to work on. But the thing is, I guess it's about this, we're all equal. So we're equal to other beings, we're equal to institutions, etc., etc. And I think those are starting to become far more important. And sometimes when people don't find that important, I don't really get that, because that's something that's like super, I find it very important.
Yeah.
And also with clients, like, of course, you know, like I do feel there is something about being the practitioner, because you're offering things, but at the same time, I'm also a fellow human, right? So it's not that I have everything of myself under control, and sometimes it just helps to say, like, you know, please know that I have patterns myself, right? So please know that we like it's, because otherwise it's just like sort of feeling like, okay, I have everything fixed and you're a mess, which is not
Well,
true.
that's the big sign, though, isn't it? You know, the big sign
Mm,
is that, um, I'm okay. I have to remind myself, like everybody, like you said, we all go through what we're going through. We're all, and I've just recently gone through some things, and and I will have to say to myself, you're not okay. You're not okay. Okay, and that's okay. You're not
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Uh, and then and then neutralize it. But, you can't fake these things. Your heart
No, that's
has to
true.
open up to it. And you gave
Yeah.
a good example. I remember in 2017 there was a full moon eclipse
Mhm, mhm,
where the sun that makes it all bright, right? And I was in the mountains, and that was a time,
mhm,
I was thinking about, well, I know the moon is artificial because I had a download and I saw some other people saying the same thing. Franco was one of them, and like you know, but I remember standing on this mountain and looking at the moon and saying, I am equal to you.
that's beautiful.
In terms of me and you, I am equal to you,
Mhm.
period. And
Yeah,
and I've done that with quite a few things over the
yeah.
years.
This is a
And
shamanic technique. Did you know that?
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, like I learned to, when I would see something as very huge, I just learned to visualize it becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And with that way, I would get the power back into myself, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Uh yeah, there was another one that happened to me recently. Oh, I know what it was. You brought it up with Gaza. Okay. So I love music, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the Hasidic Jew Matasayu.
Mhm.
He's a reggae rapper. He's a
Mhm.
he's from New York City. He was studying, like, 18, 19 years old in the whatever they call it, the place where they train the rabbis or whatever. And he would go out onto the streets. He loved to beatbox and he loved Bob Marley.
Mhm.
So he took the hymns, the songs of his religion, and very famous guy, for a few years. But anyway, so I've always really liked him. And then I was watching him on X, and he's obviously biased to Israel, and he made a remark that I thought was horrible, you know.
Mhm.
So after that happened, this was like 2 or 3 months ago. I couldn't listen to his music anymore. And so I
Mhm.
thought, oh, wait a minute, that's got nothing to do with him. That has something to
Mhm.
do with me.
Mhm.
So I had to go back in there and work on that. I know it sounds crazy. He's a musical figure and, whatever,
Nice.
but
Mhm.
I know that I came out on the other side because now I can listen to his music again.
Mhm.
So I don't know why I even brought that up, but I think it was because
No,
you were talking about equality
yeah.
and taking it beyond what we normally think it is, I guess.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and maybe also a different way, like what I was thinking, like yesterday, I did think about, okay, what can I do about Gaza? Can I send the government a letter? Can I send the king a letter or something, like, and I feel like that might be something that we, like, things are not out of reach or something. Like, it's also
Mm.
about what are the ways, like what are the ways that we can have some influence, and but also when we take ourselves seriously, but also to ask like them to show up. Well, okay, if this is your policy, can you show me who you are? Can we go into conversation, and can we then really, like discuss which way we will go, or yeah. But about Gaza, I read a Facebook post, I think, and I don't know where that comes from, but someone was describing that like people are being shot at the places where they get food, but also now that there's sort of a theme, like, and I'm not sure where this comes from, so you should check the source, right? I didn't, but one of the things that they said was like that some days people come in and they are all like being shot in the genitals, other days they're all shot in the belly, like it's sort of like a theme, and that's
Like a game or
really,
some, yeah,
really sick. Yeah, and
yeah.
that's like, I find that so intense and sort of like, yeah, I almost can't grasp that energy, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, it's, there's so many narratives, and I don't see how anybody, I mean, it's just my opinion. I don't see how anybody can look at this realm and not lose their mind if they're looking at this realm from
Mhm.
anything but the soul perspective. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, like, okay, if there's a God, why are these things happening? No, we're
Yeah.
above that. So there is a rhyme to the reason. And if you think about it, if you think about the human incarnations, what has been, in terms of the experience, what would we talk about? What would we talk about? Let's say prior to 2012. We would talk about the pain and we would talk about the suffering, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
In the reality from a soul perspective, it's the what we call the pain and the suffering at the human level that's brought us the seeds of transformation,
Yeah, it's true. I
right?
understand what you're
So,
saying. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the other thing about the Gaza thing, and that's not to take anything away from it at all, because that's another thing you learn. You learn that, every soul is choosing the path that they have, and I need to let that
Mhm.
go. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff like that going on around the world. There's a lot of stuff that's not been talked about.
Yeah.
And if the world is a reflection of the personal transformation people like us have begun, and that's now spreading to others more and more and more, then what's occurring there in other places that's kind of ugly from the human perspective is actually a reflection of what's coming out of us to be
Mhm.
seen.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's true.
and if you look at like the parts of me that I wouldn't want to tell you about, or that I don't want anyone to know about, these are the parts of me that I've ignored and denied and made excuses for, and projected on other people. And what are these?
Mhm.
This has been my experience, and you're the psychologist, energy healer. You tell me if but for me, it's been first my feelings in a given moment. I'm going to sit with my feelings, and I start to realize, hey, first of all, it's not that bad. Second of all, it's me. And then you start to take these other things in,
Yeah,
and like these things I don't want to talk about, and you realize all those aspects of you want is to be seen and heard,
definitely.
like you're talking
Yeah,
about.
definitely
It's a
true.
reflection. You're saying, I don't feel like I have a voice with my bank.
Yeah,
It's the same kind of thing, although,
definitely is.
you know what I mean? But I guess maybe, I don't know, I'm asking you, is the trick to bring that equality within yourself, and then it will change in front of you. You know what I
Of
mean?
course. Yeah,
It
of
seems
course it
like,
is. Yeah, of course it is. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why, you're presented with certain experiences in your
yeah,
reality.
yeah.
For me, many things are about, and that's maybe for many people, but about boundaries, but also standing in my power, right? Speaking my truth, things like that. Those are like the challenges that come up for me. Like I've had two new workplaces coming with a contract that I couldn't agree on, right? And I needed to go into conversation with it. And I was like, but things like that are happening. So what is true for me? Okay, what's true for me? Okay, and I can communicate that, right? So yeah, but it's definitely true what you're saying, that it's all within. Yeah.
I keep thinking I'm going to see. I've seen, you mentioned the
Mm.
elven
The Elven.
fairy elementals. I've seen them. I had
Mm,
a place in Arkansas for a while. I had a forest behind it, and I've seen other places, but I haven't seen any here. But the other day, I went to the beach, and there was all these rocks, and they
yeah.
had moss and lichen all over 'em,
Oh, yeah.
and all these little openings, and I couldn't see, but I could hear. And I was like, wait, what's that noise? I could hear like laughter and giggles and,
Mm,
like music. And I thought, am I going to start seeing them here? Or how can I see them here?
mm,
And the reason I
mm.
got taken to that point was because I've noticed over the last like 2 to 3 weeks, and I've had this happen before, but I've never had it happen this much. I'm seeing flashes like something run across the room. Sometimes they're like a dark mist, and sometimes they're like a light, right? And I'm thinking, after a while, I was going, oh, that's just my eyes. I'm tired. But after a while, I'm like, no, 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 something's going on. Are you having anything like that happen, or anything where kind of the things that we've connected to are starting to take on a physicality? Like even like when you would go through the forest and see the elven kingdom or
Yeah,
whatever.
I had it back then. Yes. By the way, what I heard was that there's also fire people there where you live. And they're really small fire people.
Fire people.
Fire people. I don't know. It sounds
I've
really
never heard
cute.
of fire people.
But they're fire.
Like
They
fire,
can,
like,
maybe they can go heel very quick, like shoo, shoo, shoo. But I feel the energy where you are is like rock and fire kind of energy is what I get. But
yeah. Well, that would make sense.
mm,
I'm fire. I'm triple fire. So, I
mm,
met somebody. I did a show with someone, and I'm gonna go look it up. Um, she was from Europe, and she was connected to. There was a name for it. I think it starts with an O, but they're the little people, right? And
mm,
she even channeled them, and it was
mm,
amazing because
mm.
you can't just change your voice and imitate. You know what I mean? It was like you can tell when something's legit.
Yeah,
But you remind me
definitely.
of her. Your connectivity reminds me of her. I think her name was Liv Wheeler. Yes,
Okay.
Livwheeler. Very
Okay,
very
I'll look her up.
fascinating. But you remind me
Sure.
of her. Yeah. But I think you're also a great example of what we're all doing in our own
Mm,
way. And I know the stories look a
yeah.
little different, but like in your case, you're you're walking in both worlds,
Yeah, I'm working both
and you're kind
worlds.
of converging those two worlds. Like
And
I'm not.
I do feel this is, to be honest, I do feel like this is also part of my own integration. So sometimes it feels a bit fragmented still, right? So
Yeah,
sometimes it feels a bit
yeah,
like I'm stepping in one and the other. So I feel it's also about bringing myself, like everything of myself in. And that can take some time, I guess,
yeah,
as
yeah. On
well.
the human timeline, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, on the human timeline. Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
get what you're saying, and I believe you're right. I believe you're right, and I think that's another thing that's changed as I've gotten back into the shows. I've noticed the focus is more about is less on changing that out here and more on changing this in here. And
Yeah.
then by virtue of that, we're realizing, oh, wait a minute, this is actually works like as within without,
Yeah.
it actually works. Like something happens, like suddenly something happens, like to me a few weeks ago. Uh, all of and then the smoke clears, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, well, this isn't so bad. I mean, I'm in a great place. It's inexpensive.
What is it called, the place where you are? If you want to share, I don't know.
It is. It's called La Piñeta. La
Oh wow.
Piñeta de
Pieta.
Jaltemba, and it's
Wow.
got its own little bay. It's beautiful.
Have
Um,
you lived there before? Do you feel
no,
that?
no, I just ended up here, but kind of by accident, and then things happened, and just kind of happened
It's
until I'm here
beautiful.
till end of October. But
Beautiful.
what I'm saying is, it's like it's like first of all, I think that there's something that the things that are happening, like the shifts that are happening now, more people are going, "Hey, I felt that."
Yeah.
Like what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Indeed.
complex, but I think, at the end of the day, the infinite beautiful simplicity. of self-awareness is our self-love, or creation, creating, being creator beings, because I don't believe we just came here to wake up. I believe we came here to create something new. And I think that the code or the material that we can make something new with has to be developed through the experience of being a human. And now we're at the payoff. Now those things that we saw so horrible, we're going to start to see just like our own shadows.
Yeah, I'm
Oh my
definitely
God.
seeing far more of my own shadows the last few years.
Oh
That's what I'm
yeah.
more seeing more than like 4 years ago, because then I was more in that high of like, oh wow, I'm an angel and
Mm.
I'm this and I'm that, you
Yeah.
know.
Hey, we've all been through
And
that, you
all the
know.
other stuff was just sort of gone. And yeah, it's different. And sometimes it's hard just to see the shadows or see the things that are not super functional or where I'm still being triggered in
Yeah.
situations, right? But
I
it's
think
also
that
sort of like humbling in a way.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely it is. I mean,
yeah,
to me, that's my number one thing is like eh, the feel, realizing a greater humility, and it's happening every day. And I say
yeah,
it's like, oh my God, I was stupid, you know? And then you go, oh, okay, I'm over here now. Well, it made me very humble to
yeah, me
be
too.
to be a human, let's say, that
Yeah,
or
it
that,
makes me also patient. Yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean?
patient with
Yeah.
others. I was thinking about when you're asking about those experiences. So there were a few experiences when I was traveling in England that I had with the stones, for example, bit back, but they were very beautiful. Like when I was in Avebury, and I think it was the sort of the first time in this lifetime that I met like this big standing stone, and I just felt my heart opening. And what I heard was like, this is organic technology, right? So the stone is actually the organic technology. It's just opening your heart. And then I stopped smoking for like 5 weeks or something. I just didn't have the urge anymore. It was really funny. And then I traveled all the way up. I ended up in Orkney, so the islands above Scotland. And I don't know, when I'm speaking about it now, I just feel how magical it was because the energy is so beautiful there. And it was actually, Dea Dova, right? Her music.
Mm.
Yeah, so she sort of sang me that way because I saw a video of her singing at a stone circle in Orkney when I was in England. And she sort of like, I felt like, oh, I need to go there. So it's like the old story of the sirens or something. I don't know, but I
Mm.
felt like I was sung that way. And then, yeah, there was this big stone circle, and the lands are so beautiful there. Like the colors are different, and yeah, it's very spacious. And um, but when I was standing in the stone circle there, like yeah, I think that what was being told to me was like the stones were actually telling me that I could like stand in the circle with them. They just told me that I was one of them. That was sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
happened, and I could feel that in my whole being. Like
Yeah.
I'm one of, and then you get connected, and I think then the Stargate also sort of lights up in
Yeah.
a way. But yeah,
Yeah. God, it's funny too. It's like when you're talking to somebody, and then everything that starts coming in, it's not like it used to be. It's not like it used to be one thing, and now it's like five things.
yeah,
Like when you said that about her and that you got drawn to there because of the music.
yeah.
I was I was talking to a friend of mine a couple days ago, and she was telling me about this band that she's followed for years, and I'm familiar with them, you know. Um, and she said they just released a new album. I really like the guy; he's a great writer, and I remember his songs, and he was a good writer. I just don't, it's been a long time, and I went to go listen to it, and it was like the dude was talking to me. It was like this
Oh, yeah.
dark shadow peeling back the onion, crying, and I'm like, oh, and I wrote her back and I said, listen, great album. I think I've listened to like four songs. I'm gonna have to take a pause because it's too much for me right now. I'll go back and listen to it. You said was about you mentioned the word sirens, and I
Silence.
remember probably the biggest elemental experience I ever had was in a swimming hole
Mm,
in the mountains in Arkansas, and
mm,
it was like the top of the, and it was dark. Like all you could see was stars, and there was this
mm,
thunderstorm, and it was like I was talking to nature, and it was reflecting me. It was crazy. But when I went into the swimming hole, all these, they it sounded like sirens. They were
mm,
little bitty, like water nymphs or something, and they were all like, "Hey!" So the reason I brought the reason that I'm telling you this is because when I sat at the bay the other night, it's so weird because what I said earlier, I could hear him, but I couldn't see him. I could see him, but I couldn't hear him, and they were sirens.
Mm,
You know,
beautiful.
the bays to me are so
Mm,
powerful. They've been so good to me. You know, 4 or 5 different bays I've experienced in the last year. You know, the
yeah,
water.
it's beautiful. I can feel it, and I also sort of feel that is also something that everyone could experience. That sort of everything is alive, right? There's so much aliveness around us, but
Yeah,
sometimes we just can't see it,
yeah.
or we're not open to experience it. It's beautiful what you're saying because and I think that's sort of the joy of like traveling in also in the multidimensional worlds, but also being more open.
Yeah.
That I don't know, it's so much fun because like all these beings are so super creative. It's just I love it, right? Yeah. Like fireflies, and there's so like in nature there's so much
What I hear,
variation. And yeah.
yeah, what I hear a lot is, especially the last few weeks, is like because you know you have that chatter going in your head, right? And I don't have near as much as I used to, and I'm sure most people don't. But I might have something on my mind, you know, and and then it'll go away, and then I'll see things, and then I'll hear it. We're always here. Get
Mm,
out of your head. Get out of your head, and you'll see it all. And the other reason I bring that up too is
mm,
because of what you said about rocks.
yeah.
See, I've never been a big crystal person. I don't have anything against them. I've been given a lot of crystals. I've kept, you know, a few here and there. But I always, from my journey started in 2011, I've always collected rocks. I've always talked
Yeah.
to rocks. I didn't tell anybody. But to me, like if you talk to a tree, like I sat with my back to a tree yesterday evening and communed, and that's a certain thing I'm familiar with. But rocks or mountains or stones,
Mm,
uh, they've been around a lot longer. You know what I mean? They've seen a lot of things, and
yeah.
so it's you're right. Everything is speaking to us. It truly is. These aren't just pretty phrases anymore. These things are actually happening as we let go uh, and unstick ourselves from this old grid.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, I know it's late over there, and thank you so much. It's been so good to reconnect with you. I'd love to do it again.
Me
We just
too.
went an hour and a half. I didn't know it was going to be an hour and a half, but yeah, if you're open to it, I'll hit you up here soon, and we'll do another one, and you know,
Great.
and see what we can get into. But I really feel you, and I feel like this has been a really strong uh, broadcast.
Mm,
I'm very pleased and honored and privileged um, to be a part of it, and to be
mm,
looking at a reflection of me that
mm,
um, you know, is a sign of what's happening for all of us. So thank you so
mm.
much. I wish you the very best, and
Thank you too.
thank you for giving me that fun reading, and for sharing yourself so openly with all of us. Okay,
Thank you so much. It was beautiful to me as well. Yeah.
good.
See
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Okay, take
Yeah, thank
care.
you everyone for watching and tuning in and exchanging with us as well, right?
Right on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back in like 3 or 4 hours.